I'm Bob Brill. He's Erik Kramer. Welcome to Kramer and Brill, a fantasy football podcast, now a video cast too. You can hear the podcast wherever you get your shows. Also, you can see the video cast on YouTube by going to my Bob Brill YouTube channel or by finding the links for all of this at kramerandbrill.com. That's the easiest way. Just go to the website. Right at the top, you'll see a place to click for the podcast. And off to the left, you'll see a video. Just click on that. That'll take you to the video cast. Super Bowl, our finally come down to the end of the season with the Bengals and Rams squaring off at SoFi in Los Angeles. And my colleague Erik Kramer and I have had a great time with you this fantasy football season. And this being our annual Super Bowl show, we're bringing in a couple of special guests today. It's our annual quarterback convention, so to speak. Joining us, former NFL quarterbacks Rodney Peete, who was also a teammate of Erik, and Vince Ferragamo, who played into the Super Bowl with the Rams here in Los Angeles. Erik, of course, spent 12 seasons in the NFL, played in some key playoff games. Between the three of you, Vince, Rod, you guys played a total of 262 NFL games. And to be honest with you, I really am honored to begin the presence of you three. I mean, it's like when I covered my first Super Bowl with UPI Radio, I can't tell you how many guys wanted to carry my bags if they could come along. Well, there are a whole bunch of people out there listening who would really love to be in my seat. So I want to thank you guys for coming on, all three of you. You know, we're going to kick around the season, the game, and then I got some quarterback scenarios I'm going to challenge our three quarterbacks with before we get to the final prediction on the game. First, I'd like to get your thoughts on one of the strangest NFL seasons in history. Erik, why don't you start off?
Well, the first notable difference from the previous season in 2020 was a full fandom back in stadiums, which being the first time ever of any season ticket holder, being the Chargers, I got to go to all the games, and just being inside was great on one hand. On the other hand, it made me wish that LA fans, anyway, was a little more blue-collar-ish, like Detroit or Chicago or Kansas City, some of these Seattle teams, you know, that where when you show up for the game for your team, it's not like a entire history of player jerseys for the other team. So I'm, you know, LA can improve a little bit that way. But I'd say regarding the changes I'd like to see, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the season, how the NFL rules need to keep pace with technology. And it's ridiculous that at home you can be watching the seconds tick off the play clock, go to 0, 1,001, and then beyond, and yet the whistle's not blown or the play's allowed to happen. But on the positive side of things, I would say the game itself and what's happening on the field right now with, you know, a mix of new players like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, and either it doesn't look like anything anybody we've ever seen before, or like in the case of Jamar Chase, might remind us of some previous great players like Jerry Rice. And I think you also saw like the new over-the-hill game of quarterbacks with Brady and Rodgers kind of taking center stage this year. So it's fun to see a mix of all that.
Rod?
Yeah. I would agree with Erik on the first point he made about the crowds in LA. Look, we've got the Taj Mahal of stadiums, right? I think Stan Kroenke did an unbelievable job of building that stadium, and you understand why the Rams were the team to come back to LA, because they needed an owner with deep pockets to do it right, and they did it right in LA in terms of the stadium. But you know, I guess when you're gone for 22 years, it's going to take some time to get that fan base back, especially a young crowd, young fan base who didn't really grow up on a LA football team. They had to associate themselves with someone else, like the Cowboys or the 49ers or even the Raiders, because there was not really a team in LA. And then, you know, LA is such a transient city where people come from all over. So when their team does come to town, they may be Charger fans or they may be Ram fans for most of the season. But when the Chiefs come to town or when the Steelers come to town, their allegiance goes back to their hometown. So it makes it difficult. But I think eventually, and they've done it right. I think both teams have done right by, first of all, being exciting. LA is a team. You got to be excited if you're going to play in LA. You can't be boring, but you got to win. You got to win in LA because there's so many things to do if you don't win. You go to the beach. It's always sunny. your options are you have a variety of options. Unlike if you're in Cleveland or Cincinnati during the fall, you look forward to Sunday's football game because it's 30 degrees outside or 20 degrees outside, so that's what you look forward to. In LA, there's so many things to do. But I think winning cures that. And eventually, if they keep winning, especially the Rams or even the Chargers keep being exciting with their young quarterback and their team, not saying that they're going to get to Dodger loyalty level or Laker loyalty level, but they can get there. It's just going to take some time. But I think this was one of the most interesting seasons that we've seen in the NFL, where legitimately there were about half the league that could have won the Super Bowl being playing next Sunday. That's how I think the parity has worked in the NFL's favor, because we saw teams that were hot at the beginning that cooled off, got hot again. Teams that were hot fall off a cliff. Teams that were so-so all of a sudden get hot and go play, like we see the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think it was incredible. Certainly was the best, I think, playoffs that we've ever had in the NFL, which has been very exciting. But I know, from our standpoint, and three quarterbacks, and Erik mentioned the rules a little bit, that we would die to play in today's game, just because of the rules, because you can't touch the quarterback, because there's no fear for receivers coming across the middle. You can air a little bit high or a little bit low or a little bit behind, because nobody's getting knocked out. So it's a different ball game, exciting to watch, more like 7-on-7 than it is old school football like we played, but very, very exciting to watch. And you see, when you lose your quarterback, it's difficult to recover from that, as we saw with Seattle losing Russell Wilson. They got off to a good start, but once he went down, they couldn't recover from that, even when he came back. You got the Cardinals losing Kyler Murray. They were the hottest team in football. He gets injured, he comes back, he's not the same. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, they're not the same team without him, obviously. So health, obviously, every year is a big part of why the teams are in the playoffs and then eventually in the Super Bowl. But if you lose your quarterback, then you really, it's hard to make it, and hard to get to the playoffs, and let alone get to the Super Bowl.
Thank God for kickers to kick 60-yard field goals, huh?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Vince, turn it over to you.
Well, I have to agree with both the other quarterbacks. I think if we were playing today, we'd be playing a lot longer, I think, Rodney, because of the rule changes. But I think, the game, the way it was structured this year and aligned in the playoffs to adopt two more teams from each conference, really kept everybody in suspense, because like Rodney said, there was, 50% of the teams that played were still in the running for the playoffs. So anybody could have got in at the end, especially in the AFC. So as we saw, what happened with the quarterbacks and, the falling out of Tom Brady now, and he dropped out of the Super Bowl contention. He was beaten by the Rams. I think, that was a big surprise for some people, but I think that, it was the Rams' year this year. It just seemed like everything, the stars were aligned. They struck gold in December. They started playing. They played tough. Their defense got together. Their draft picks really weren't as noticeable as their trades, and the guys they traded for, like Von Miller and getting Matthew Stafford, getting him in there, getting guys like the entire team is kind of been molded around Sean McVay. So I think that this year was a little different. We had the fans back. I mean, COVID wasn't as big of a deal. I think we were able to cope with that, and to have the fans back, especially at SoFi Stadium, was very good. I know, as Rodney mentioned, that Los Angeles is a melting point. It's a melting place for many people that come in here. They're transient, that come in to live in Southern California. So we have fans from all over the country living here. But to see a game like the 49ers and see half the stadium in red, that was a little surprising, even more than half the stadium. So, and that was both times they played. So but I think the Rams were able to prevail and persevere. And it was just meant to be. They're in the playoffs. They're in the Super Bowl playing Cincinnati. So it's been a great season, a great year, and especially a year of quarterbacks.
Well, I want to give you guys each a specific question here. I'll go right back to you, Vince. You played in this game. You played it right here in LA, although it wasn't a place like SoFi. It was the Rose Bowl. What kind of difference do you feel? Is there anything that makes this facility make it a difference for these players that are going to be in this game? Or is it, they're on the field, the game's the game, and you go from there? Does this facility make a difference in this game?
Well, if that question's intended for me, I think that I played in the Rose Bowl, and as a kid growing up, I know Rodney would agree with me that if you're a Southern California athlete, your dream all along is to play in the Rose Bowl game. And I never got a chance to play that. I went to Cal Berkeley, but being drafted by the Rams and being able to play in the Super Bowl at the Rose Bowl was quite thrilling. Play Pittsburgh, but the outdoor stadiums bring a different mystique. SoFi is relatively inside on AstroTurf. It's not natural grass, so there's a different dimension. It's seems like more of a corporate event, but as we know, football. I mean, football was meant to be played outside in the weather and the elements, but today's football is a little different. It's more for show, and I think that it's quite a bit different to play inside as opposed to playing outside. And so, but the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl, Bob, and you get ready for it. I mean, it's what you play for. So it's the biggest show in the game, and you just have to let everything out and just play loose and give it everything you got. So it's a great thrill for the guys that will actually get a chance to play in it.
I want to jump over to Erik here. Aside from a few games in San Diego, you played your entire career in the NFC. Rodney played a few games in Oakland, and Vince played one in Buffalo. So you guys really are NFC quarterbacks. Is there a different dynamic, Erik, to this game for the NFC Rams over the AFC Bengals?
We talk about this game. I think the AFC dynamic the Rams are going to have to contend with is a 4, sometimes 5, sometimes 6-headed beast with the guys like Burrow and Mixon and Pirine and Chase and Boyd and Uzama. They got a bunch of guys that can make plays with the ball. And as for the Rams, they're stacked on both sides. We've seen the Rams offense be up and down the season, but in the last few weeks, they've been mostly up, especially with Akers coming back. And obviously, Beckham's gotten comfortable now and starting to assert himself, especially down the field, and he can throw. So, like he did when he connected with Cam up the right sideline, was that against the 49ers, I think, in the playoff game, like a double pass, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the Rams on both sides have, especially defense. I mean, they've got playmakers, so it's not just what's the DB's name?
Jalen
Ramsey.
Ramsey. So it's not just Donald. It's not just Ramsey behind Donald now. They got Von Miller. They picked him up, as you mentioned earlier, who's playing more like the Von Miller Super Bowl MVP Von Miller. And they got a lot of push in the pocket. They got Leonard Floyd over from the Bears is playing well right now. So I think defensively, they're making plays. They're stopping the run. They got 2 weeks to rest up in the secondary. I just think this is going to be a great Super Bowl matchup.
Rod, you went to college here. You lived here much of your life. You live here now. So when it comes to, tickets, we know it's not really going to be a home crowd because access to tickets really isn't a sure thing even for season ticket holders, as all of us know. How much of a difference is this home field advantage going to be for the Rams, if any?
I think the only difference the advantage for the Rams is that they get to sleep at home, or they're comfortable with the environment. They're going to practice at their own facility. The comfort level is going to be, great for the Rams to be here. In terms of home field, I think we've seen it, and Vince touched on it when they played the 49ers, that it's not really, even with the, whether it's the Chargers or the Rams, if a team with a big fan base comes in, it doesn't always feel like a home field advantage for the home team. We certainly saw that with the 49ers, especially that last game of the season, even out a little bit in the playoff game. But for that last game of the season, it was heavy 49ers, and they were loud. I think in the Super Bowl, because of the allocation of the tickets, there will be and this being what 30-something years since Cincinnati's ever played in the Super Bowl, there will be a contingent of Bengal fans that just look at this as like a once in a lifetime deal, and that will show up. So they're going to have their fan base here, and it's not to Vince's point as well. It's not like you're playing in Chicago, as Erik would tell you, where that is a home field advantage, playing in the cold outside at Soldier Field. The stadium, the elements. Somebody else is coming into your place. That's a different dynamic than playing in 72 degrees indoor environment at SoFi where everything's perfect. I don't think there's really an advantage for the Rams in that respect, other than, like I said, just being comfortable being at home. In fact, I think maybe there's probably more pressure on the Rams to win it because they are playing in their home stadium, number one. Number two, Tampa Bay just did it last year and won the Super Bowl in their home stadium. So there's a lot of pressure on the Rams to do it and do it like Tampa Bay did last year.
Well, yeah, I'm going to give you guys. I want one player, just one player. That's all I want you guys. I'm going to give all three of you a chance. Who do you guys feel is going to be the key player in this game? MVP, difference maker. I mean, the defensive player could be anybody. Who's the one guy you guys are looking for that will make the difference here? Erik?
I'll go with Matt Stafford. I think he's everybody in the NFL knew he was brought in here, and that Sean McVay all but announced that the reason the Rams lost the last Super Bowl was because of Jared Goff. And I think that's true. But it was Stafford who had to perform. And I think throughout most of the season, he has, right up until the last month of the season when he had the fall aparts. And then people were starting to say, oh, as the playoffs were getting started, well, is really Matthew Stafford not winning a Super Bowl because Matthew Stafford, or was it the team around him in Detroit? And I just think what nobody right now, to me, quarterback wise, is playing as well as he is through this stretch of the playoffs. And I think you've got a good group of players around him. So like we saw last week, it's not him that necessarily has to win the game, but he likes being in that moment if he has to. But I think that if he just plays like he's been through these last few playoff games, I think there's a very good chance he comes out of this game with a win, a Super Bowl win, and an MVP trophy.
Vince?
Yeah, I think it's the Rams' games to lose. I think they're favored, obviously, and Matthew Stafford's had a great season. He's had a couple low points, but I think his leadership to this team and his creativity with a game plan, along with Sean McVay, I don't really see them having the same foul ups as they did against the Patriots with Belichick. I think Zach Taylor, coached under Sean McVay, so there's no coaching edge on the other side. So this is their game to lose. If they're going to lose the game, I just think the Rams are a better team overall. And, you talk about who's the MVP, it's usually the quarterback. So, I mean, he's either the GOAT or the hero. But in this game, it's either Joey Burrow or it's Matthew Stafford. I just think that they have more of an uphill battle in Cincinnati. So I would have to say that, but it's going to be the quarterback's going to be the key player in this game.
Rod?
I'm gonna go contrary to my quarterback brethren right there. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say OBJ.
Ooh.
Because I think look, as you guys both mentioned, as the latter part of the season, as he started getting comfortable with this offense, and they started making him a focal part of this offense, you could see his confidence level grow. You could see him starting to not think about it, but just go play football like we know OBJ can play. And right now, he is feeling it on all levels. I'm talking about the confidence of catching the ball, strong hands. I don't know about you guys. There are not a lot of guys that snatch the ball with his hands better than OBJ. And I think with all the attention, at least a majority of attention, that Cincinnati is going to give to stopping Cooper Kupp, I think OBJ has a big day, and they're going to get him involved early. They're going to get him involved in a lot of different situations. Erik mentioned it. I wouldn't be surprised if he throws a pass or two. I just see him being that X factor difference maker, because really, Cooper Kupp obviously is MVP, category. If the quarterback position wasn't so biased to the MVP, he'd be right up there in the conversation. But he's going to gain so much attention that I think OBJ comes out of this game as the guy that I want to say they forgot about, but there's a reason why people always believe that he's special and a superstar. So I'm going with OBJ.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys each a scenario here. We're going to do several of them. Let you make some choices. I'm going to ask each of you the same question, and you each get a full chance to respond. Here we go. You are in your prime as an NFL quarterback. Who would you rather have on your team as a primary receiving target? Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase? Vince?
Well, I mean, Rodney is so exactly right on, because, I mean, that was a great acquisition to get Odell Beckham. But when you talk about Cooper Kupp, I mean, this guy is up. He's already won Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year with the Writers' Poll, and I just like, his mentality. I like what he does. I mean, I'm a big fan of Jamar Chase too, as well. I mean, he's a rookie this year. He has a really good feeling with Joe Burrow, and that's the reason why they are in the Super Bowl. But Cooper Kupp is just something that, to me, I can use him inside. I can use him to block. I can use him to run sweep. I can use him out of the backfield to run a route. He's so intelligent. Even when he came in as a rookie, he was off the charts, and the way he could understand offenses, and his separation, his work ethic is strong. The first two steps can separate faster than anybody in the league. Even though he ran a 4.6 40, 4.7 40 in the draft trials, but I would have to take Cooper Kupp. I mean, if I needed a guy to throw to, I mean, Matthew Stafford and him have hooked up all year. They've always had great things happen every time he throws his way. When he didn't throw his way, he was running into problems at times. And so, he's the guy. He's the guy that's has been unbelievable.
Okay, Rod.
Yeah, that's a real tough one, because I think Jamar Chase is superstar, super duper star, and is only going to get better. And along the lines of some of the other guys that we talk about, he's got everything, right? He's got the size, he's got the speed. I think his IQ, which is why Joe Burrow wanted him so bad, is off the charts as well. But I think right now, and if you ask me this question 2 years from now, I'd probably switch it. But right now, Cooper Kupp, because of all the things Vince said, that you can utilize him in so many different ways. And he's, and you guys know, he's that comfort blanket. He's that guy that will always show up in your vision when things go bad or things break down. He's going to be in the right spot. You can read his body language. There's no guessing with him. And Vince said it. He's great. And, for you guys as players, you get that label that people put on third guy. Oh, he's a possession receiver. Well, you see how many times he got behind the defense? You see how many times he caught deep balls and ran away from people, and they weren't able to catch him. And you mentioned him running a 4.6. It's kind of like Jerry Rice coming out, right? Jerry was a 4.6 guy when he ran the 40, but in games, nobody could catch him. Nobody caught him once he got open, or he ran by guys. And Cooper Kupp's the same way. And again, it goes back to the comfort level of a quarterback, and his IQ is just it's off the charts. And physically, he can make all the plays and run all the routes and do everything you want him to do. And he's one of those guys that makes you as a quarterback better.
Erik?
All right. I like this contrarian mode. So I think if this was a two-person draft only, and I don't care, no disrespect to Cooper Kupp, I don't care who the other guy is. If I got the number one overall pick, I'm taking Jamar Chase every time. He's one of a kind to me. He's not only a rookie, he's a rookie who didn't play last year.
Right.
So, and he's sturdy at the top of the route. He's strong hands too.
Yeah.
He's got elite speed. He took a 12-yard curl route against Kansas City, went the distance, and no one was gaining on him, and that was zone coverage. So no hesitation, I got Jamar Chase, and that's no disrespect to Cooper Kupp, because you're right, he is great, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of Jamar Chases floating around in this league anytime soon.
Okay. Shorter answer on this one, guys. Who would you rather have as your secondary receiver, Odell Beckham Jr. or T. Higgins, Erik?
I'd go with Odell, like Rodney said. I mean, I think there's something about him. It's like he's playing in front of the dog pound. And whatever they said before to him, he's got an answer for that now. And he's feeling comfortable in this new offense. And I think it's reflective of I think it's where Matthew Stafford is. It's Odell's comfort level with the offense and Sean McVay calling plays.
Rod, I think I know what your answer is, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Odell Beckham or T. Higgins?
Hey, yes, OBJ for sure. For sure. He's my X factor. He's a guy that he's playing. And Erik said it. He's playing with a little chip on his shoulder right now too. I love it.
Vince?
I got to tell Erik, though, if I was throwing to Cooper Kupp or Jamar Chase, I'd have a lot more completions throwing to Cooper Kupp. But I would have to say, I met him, Rodney, after the game last week, and his personality, his calmness, I don't know. There was something about him that really stood out. And as a receiver, as a quarterback-receiver relationship, I can see how he could fit right in. And like you mentioned, he's got the greatest hands that I've seen in a long time. I mean, not only one-handed, but when you throw him a bad pass, that ball just sticks to his hand. So, T. Higgins is a good receiver as well. I mean, they have 3 tandem receivers that can play for Cincinnati. But, yeah, Odell Beckham, the way he's playing right now, he's made some – I mean, as Rodney said, he's one of the reasons why the Rams are in the Super Bowl, because they wouldn't have sustained drives if he didn't come up with those miraculous catches during the season. So, especially in the playoffs.
Okay, Vince, who do you want in the backfield with you, Joe Mixon or Cam Akers?
Well, I got to go with Joe Mixon. I mean, he's been consistent all year. I mean, I like the way he runs the ball. I mean, he doesn't complain. He just gets back there. If you give me the ball, I'll take it. I'll run it. And I like the way he fits in with Joe Burrow. Everybody respects Burrow, the way he's been playing. They know he's a competitor. He won't quit. He doesn't get rattled. And, I just think Joe Mixon, I like Cam Akers. But he's only been back for a couple games, coming off that severe Achilles injury. And so, but you know what? If you compare him and Joe Mixon right now, I mean, he means more to my team, I think. So I'd go with Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I agree. I would go with Joe Mixon. I think for those reasons that Cam Akers is coming off the Achilles, by the way, from a guy that had Achilles tear, to see him come back so soon is amazing. Mm-hmm. And you forget, at least I did, of how fast Cam Akers is. He's much faster than I thought he was, because I guess I hadn't seen him play all season. Then he plays at a different speed. But right now, Joe Mixon for sure. He runs with power. He can run with speed. I like him in his pass protection, and also catching the ball out of the backfield. I think Joe Mixon is a complete back that between the two right now, I'm taking Joe Mixon.
Erik, do we have consensus here?
I think we do. I think as great as Joe Mixon is running the ball for all the reasons they just named, you can double that when it comes in the pass game. Yeah. As Rodney said, he can pick up protections. He's great as a route runner, great hands, can do damage after the catch.
All right. You guys are the head coach of the Rams in the upcoming game. What play do you call on the team's very first snap from scrimmage? Rod?
Wow. Yeah. Obviously thinking I'm going deep. No, I'm establishing physical football. I'm running the ball, and I may run it 3 straight times if I'm the Rams, to let them know that we're going to come out and play physical, because you guys know those big guys up front, that's what they want to do. They want to run the football. And if you can start the game by doing what the Rams need to do when they're at their best, is running the football and play action off of that. If you set the tone running the football, then it's a great day for the Rams. So I would set that tone by running the football in that first play.
Erik?
I like that too, but I'll tell you this. I get up anywhere around midfield, First play that's coming out is that double pass, one to Beckham, and slipping out Cam Akers up the sideline. I'm gonna see if they can go 2 for 2 on that.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
Vince?
Yeah, I hope they have a trick play like that, Eric. That would be great because he can throw the ball. I'm telling you, that's another thing we didn't talk about. But I think Sean McVay is going to go to his play action. I think he's going to go to his bread and butter. That's what they do best. Their bootleg play. They're going to
Vince, you're Sean McVay here. What are you doing? I don't care what Vince, what Sean has. What do you want to do?
What I'm going to do with that team? I'm going to throw the ball. I'm not going to run it. I'm going to throw the ball on first down because it's a passing league, and then I'm going to surprise them with the run. But they're going to be expecting run. I don't want to get blasted up there, and they don't have that offensive line that can just blow you right off the ball. So
all right, so I'm going to flip this now. Vince, you're the head coach of the Bengals. What do you call in your team's very first snap?
You know what? I'm going to probably play it fairly safe with Joey Burrow. In the beginning, but I think they're going to have to establish the run. Teams that have beaten the Rams, they run the ball at them. They blast the Rams right in the mouth. So if they can run the ball with Mixon, they're going to be able to control the game a little bit better. I don't think you can get in a shootout with Sean McVay. I think you're going to have to just establish the run a little bit more and get that running game going. And then, of course, Joey's got some legs too. He can run himself, but he's more of a passer first and run second. And he'll scramble out of the pocket some and he'll get some yards, but he's gonna connect with his receivers as well.
Okay, Eric, you're the head coach of the Bengals. What's your first play on that very first snap?
I'm with Vince. I'd say they go just pound the ball early and get Joe Mixon involved, actually get that offensive line established in the line of scrimmage for themselves. But this being a fantasy football show, if I'm thinking fantasy-wise, I'm putting that ball in Jamar Chase's hands. Good things tend to happen.
Rod?
That's right. I'm going to Bay. I'm letting Joe Cool roll. I'm throwing the rock on that first play, second play, third play. I might go no huddle to start the game if I'm Cincinnati and Zach Taylor. I'm gonna let Joe Burrow, Joe Cool come out of the gate.
I like it.
Winging it and just go. And so he can get into the game early and just roll with my guy with the hot hand. And
Rodney, he was sacked 9 times against the Titans, man. 9 times. Come on, man. Their offensive line can't pass protect very good. You have to do something. Play action pass.
Terry Bradshaw always says, and he was a winger. Terry Bradshaw always says, when your team gets a takeaway in a key situation, you should go long on the very first play. Well, here's the scenario. Your defense, doesn't matter whether it's the Rams or the Bengals, your defense intercepts a pass halfway through the third quarter with your team leading by 5 points. Okay, you got that? You have the ball on the 50-yard line. What's your first play as a quarterback calling your own plays? Rod?
Because they're going to expect me to go deep. I'm going screen on that first play. I'm going to have a look that they're going to feel like I am going to take a shot, but I'm a screen on that play because I think they're going to run out, whether they're playing zone or not. I think they're going to run out thinking it's going to be deep, and I'm going to drop it down, whether it be a tight end screen or a wide receiver screen or mixing out of the backfield. I'm going screen on that first play.
Eric?
Depends on who we got in the huddle. If Barry Sanders is in that huddle, and I'm talking even today, whatever play gets him in the end zone, and it's pretty much any play. Remember, on the sideline, we'll be joking about Wayne to be over there going, okay, let's do that play where Barry scores again.
Vince?
Yeah, we like that play.
I like what Terry Bradshaw has to do. He's going to go the bomb against us. He threw those bombs to John Stallworth. It was unbelievable. But when you come off a turnover like that, and you're 5 points up, I'm going to go up by 2 scores. I can't sit back and just try to, just play for a field goal. I got to score twice, give me up by 2 scores. So I'm going to take a look deep. If I've got it, I'm going to let it fly. If they snuff it out, I'm going to go look intermediate. If intermediate's not there, I'll check it down. But I'm going to go after them.
This reminds me of something I was thinking about the other day because Erik brought it up. It's like, you guys all have done something special, sort of in your genre, not only just on the football field. Vince played in the Super Bowl. Rodney got to walk down the aisle with Holly Robinson, who's Holly Robinson Peete, and Erik got to hand the ball off to Barry Sanders. So what else can you say?
I call that even.
Yeah, that's it. Man.
Yeah.
Here's a tough one. Okay, you are Sean McVay. Now let's put it in that context. You're Sean McVay. Your defense is decimated. They've been played this whole game. It's been a tough game, and they're decimated. They've given up. Your defense has given up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and you now trail 30-27. 2 seconds left on the clock. You have the ball on the 1-yard line with obviously 1 play left. Do you kick a field goal to tie it and go into OT, knowing your defense is gassed? Or do you go for it? And if so, what play do you call? Who wants to go first?
I'll take it. So if I got Marshawn Lynch in the backfield and I'm Sean McVay calling plays, there's no question what we're doing. We don't have Marshawn Lynch. We're kicking it. What's that?
I said you're going to pass it like Pete did in the Super Bowl.
No. If we don't have that scenario that I just painted, we're kicking the ball and going for overtime. I don't care what. One thing that's not going to happen is we're not going to outthink this thing and beat ourselves. We're going to make the other team beat us.
Rod?
All right, so scenario is that our defense just got scored on 3 straight times, right?
Right.
3 straight times, touchdowns, gas, and I got the ball now at the 1-yard line with 1 play.
Right.
I'm going for the win. Let's go get it. It's the Super Bowl. I'm going for the win.
Oh, that looks good. Vince?
Yeah, I'm 1 yard away, Rodney. 1 yard. If we can't make 1 yard, I'm getting under, and I'm not getting in the gun either.
No,
I'm getting under center, and I'm gonna have a play, 2 or 3 plays in mind that we've practiced on the 1 yard line. And especially in today's game, I got to have it. I got to have a way to do it. And, I'd probably do like a robo thing that the 49ers do. I'd take a 6 lineman and run him in motion. And then that way, if it's there, I'll run it. If not, I'll just throw it. If not, I'm going to just in desperation do something to get the ball in the end zone. I got to go for it on 1 yard.
I love it.
Good. Okay, I'm going to flip it a little bit here. What I want to do is I want to flip the scenario. Now you're the defensive coach, okay? You're the Bengals head coach. Same scenario. The Rams are on offense. They got 1 play left. You're on defense. In this scenario with the Rams going for the touchdown, how do you defend that?
Well, the Rams.
I'm coming after them.
All right.
Yeah, I'm coming after them. I'm selling out. I'm going after them. I may pick one guy to maybe kind of in and out or double, maybe Cooper Kupp, because I know you're going to look at him. I mean, the problem with the Rams, you got OBJ too, but I'm selling out, making Matthew Stafford get rid of the ball and make a perfect throw.
I'm taking my most physical corner and putting him on OBJ because they don't have a guy. He's the closest thing they've got to a guy that can go up and back shoulder a catch. They don't have a 6'4" Herman Moore. They don't have anybody like Inspector Gadget like that can go up. So I'm putting my physical corner on him. I'm stacking the box, knowing that we're going to fight. We're going to face Cam Akers running up behind Andrew Whitworth.
Vince?
I agree with you, Erik. Odell Beckham's the only one that's going to go up for a toss for a 1-on-1 play in the corner of the end zone, like a little fade route. So, but they're going to motion somebody. They're going to probably motion Cooper Kupp, and they like to throw that ball off the motion because they get a little advantage. You got to be expecting that, and I agree with Rodney. I'm going to have to pressure. I'm going to have to pressure the quarterback. I'm going to come up there in gap formation. I don't know. I doubt it. If he might even be under center. So I got to kind of be aware of that. But if not, I'm going to come hard and make him throw it quick. And I'm going to match up man to man, and may the best man win.
Before we get to the prediction on the game, because I'm going to leave it at that on those questions, I do want to interject something here. That now, my understanding, we all have season tickets. I know Erik does. I do. Vince, you got season tickets. Rod, do you have season tickets either team?
No, I do not.
Okay, but you guys went to the Super Bowl and you knew about the ticket allocation. the breakdown right now is there's 70,000 seats. Okay. 54,000 of those go to the rest of the league, and that includes equal division between all the other NFL teams. They split 33% or something like that. Anyway, including of that 54,000, the NFL gets 25% and the Bengals get 17.5%. So basically, of the 70,000 seats, the Rams, as the host team, get 16, we'll call it 17,000 seats of the 70,000, of which the majority are supposed to go to season ticket holders, at least 50%. So we're talking out of 70,000 seats, 8,200 are designated at least for season ticket holders. And that will take care of the minimum of 4,000 fans because everybody's got at least 2 tickets and some people have 4. So the local teams fans are only going to get 8,000 of those 70,000 seats. Is that equitable? Should there be a change? Should the other teams in the league get 17% of the tickets, and only the season ticket holders, of which only a small amount are going to get those 8,000 tickets? And I know, Vince, I believe you have a suite, right, or something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now, and that suite was probably taken away from you, right, by the NFL?
Yeah, it wasn't available.
Right,
It
but
belongs to the NFL.
right. So I know they had the sweepstakes for the season ticket holders. Were you in the sweepstakes, or were you at a level where they offered you Super Bowl tickets?
They offer you a chance to purchase 4 other seats someplace else than the suite. So
okay. So overall, is this situation with the tickets and distribution an equitable thing? Just a short answer from each of you. What do you think?
I think basically, I think it's a shame that a normal fan can't go to the game. But in the NFL, the Super Bowl is a worldwide event. So unfortunately, the price of tickets are just too expensive for anybody. It's almost a corporate event. So I think you have to look at it that way, Bob. And the allocation of tickets, even if they were to allocate more tickets to the LA team, you're going to be priced out. So it's going to be prohibitive for you going to the game for most fans. And it's ridiculous what they charge for this game, but it's just the way it is. It's a Super Bowl event. It's seen across the world. And so everybody enjoys the game. So, but the seats to go to the actual game itself is very difficult.
Rod?
Yeah. I mean, I would think that the teams in the Super Bowl should get a little bit more gravy thrown their way for their fans and for actually making it as part of the incentive to get into the Super Bowl. And I get it; it's a global event, and all of the other owners and teams, you have to get their allocations. But I think it's sometimes at the expense of the teams that are in it, and maybe cut back on the teams that are not in the Super Bowl, their allocations, and give those to the teams that are in it. And still, make it, a percentage of those tickets, as Vince mentioned, the everyday fan is loyal, that's had season tickets for 20 years for a particular team, can't get to the game because they're priced out of it. And not everybody could go. I certainly understand that. But there should be an allocation for the Joe Blow fan of the team that's in the Super Bowl that can have something reasonable that they can either get or have a lottery to. But I certainly believe the 2 teams in the game need to have a bigger distribution on their side of tickets.
I think what bothers a lot of fans is, and I'm just talking from fans that I've talked to, is that, other players on the other teams get these tickets and, they sell them. I mean, they're scalping the tickets. I mean, maybe it's a new car for the wife, or maybe it's whatever, an improvement on the house or whatever, but they're getting the tickets because they're not going to the game. You're not going to have a couple of thousand players who can, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, wherever, maybe some of them do go to the game, but not all of them, and they sell them. So I think that's one of the inequities that I know fans bring up. Erik?
Well, I think the bottom line is you're asking this question based on season ticket holders kind of getting iced out. And the reality of it is, like Vince said and Rodney, is like it's cost prohibitive. Like not everybody can afford a Lamborghini. That's just the fact of life. I don't know what the NFL can do about that, because it's become more than a game. Like Vince was saying, it's a corporate event now, and it's something to go do. Like most of the people that go to the game, they're not even football fans. They're corporate executives or
sponsors.
People, they're sponsors, right? And so I think that's what it's become. And so most people, I think, are, they're going to be watching either from home or sports bar or somewhere. And that's just a sad but true and a fact of what is now become the NFL and the Super Bowl.
Okay. I want to get to the game now. Predictions. We did this last year. I'll give my prediction last. I'll go with that. Erik, prediction of the game. What do you got?
All right. So I was thinking about this. I got the Rams engineering a 5-play drive at the end that starts out with a couple Cam Akers runs for a first down, followed up by a nice play action pass by Stafford over to where they're doubling Cooper Kupp, and Van Jefferson comes to take a big chunk out of the middle, and they finish it up with a nice play action jump ball grab by Tyler Higbee to win the game in the end zone.
Erik?
The Rams win.
Okay. Rod?
Wow, that was pretty vivid there.
Just trying to paint the picture as you're going to see it.
I like it. I got the Rams winning this 34-24. I think the Rams have a comfortable lead for at least the first half. I see Cincinnati making a nice run in the second half to get it close. I think it gets to 27. Say 27-21 or 27-24, and the Rams put together a last minute, or not a last minute, but put together, an 8-minute left on the clock. They put a nice drive together to go seal the win and score a touchdown to put it 34-24. I got the Rams, but I do think the Bengals make a game of it in the second half after being down most of the game.
Vince?
How did we do last year? I don't think I was very good. I took Kansas City over Tampa Bay. That was a mistake. So I don't know if you want to hear from me, but I know the Rams like to start out quick, Bob, and I think they'll have a lead at halftime. And usually when they're leading at halftime, they win. But almost every game in this playoff this year has been decided by a late second field goal. And, both teams have good field goal kickers. So I see this game coming down to a field goal. I think the third quarter will belong to Cincinnati. They're the best team in the third quarter in the second half. But I think the Rams will prevail. I think 31-28 Rams to win by a field goal.
All right, my prediction. I think it, as based on all the playoff games, with maybe the exception of one, it goes to that last 2 seconds. It's tied, or they're down by a point or two. Rams kicker comes on the field, and to quote Alex Karras from many years ago, I'm going to kick a touchdown. Okay. And the Rams win it by 2 or 3 points. And that's where I see it. So we'll see. I had a pretty decent year this year, didn't I, Erik? I mean, you had a really good year, and I had a pretty decent year, some good predictions. So,
but it'll be a good game.
Erik, what's your score? What did you say it was?
I didn't. So now that you've asked, I'll go and say it's the Rams 24-21.
All right.
Well, good. We're all right around 3 except Rod's,
10.
34-24.
Are you going to Vegas?
Homer. Rod's a homer. Don't worry. Don't ask.
So, Rod, are you going to Vegas in this week between the games? You can't make a bet here in California.
I know. Look, who knows what LA is going to be like next week? It might be a good idea to get out of town.
Hey, Rodney, I played with Jimmy Burrow at Nebraska, and he was his dad, Joey Burrow's dad. And so sentimentally, right? I got to pull for Joey, but I'm a Ram, so I'm in a tough situation here. So he's a good quarterback. Let's just put it that way. He's going to show a lot of people this week what he can do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, this has been fun. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Don't go away after we're done here, because I would talk to all of you. But there you have it. Kramer and Brill, a fantasy football podcast, and now a video cast as well. You can hear the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Odyssey, and wherever you get your podcasts. And now you can also see the video cast on YouTube by going to my Bob Brill YouTube channel, or by finding the links for all of this at kramerandbrill.com. That's the easiest way. And I'd like to thank Rodney Peete, Vince Ferragamo for joining us, and for my friend and colleague Erik Kramer. We'll see you next time.